Hey folks, it's time for the quote of the day, and today we're going to be quoting easily one of the most recognizable people of all time, an icon, and quite simply one of the most beautiful people, in my opinion, in America to have ever lived, and that is, of course, Norma Jeane Mortensen, also known as Marilyn Monroe. Now, normally, for the quote of the day video, at least lately, I will talk at length about whatever I want to talk about, and then I'll give it the quote near the end of the video. We're going to do that a little bit different today because I think that the quote that I'm using from her is important to frame the conversation that I'd like to have today. The quote by Marilyn Monroe goes as such: I never wanted to be Marilyn. It just happened. Marilyn's like a veil I wear over Norma Jeane. I never wanted to be Marilyn. It just happened. Marilyn's like a veil I wear over Norma Jeane. Now, why did I choose this quote in particular? I wanted to talk about this because I think that it's a problem with our society today. I think that this is emblematic of something that you see very, very often, more often than not, as a matter of fact, in today's world. I think that what she says in this quote is something that, to a lesser degree, all of us can take to heart and understand. Now, she obviously was in the public eye, and whatever you want to believe in terms of conspiracy theories around her death or anything like that doesn't really matter for this conversation. I would just say that what we know, the definable truth of what we know, is more than likely, according to the coroner, she overdosed intentionally. We don't know. There could be all those conspiracy theories are out there, and I don't want to argue about that. So we're going on the assumption that she did do this to herself. Now we do know that she did have, I guess you could say, a very, very hard childhood. There was a lot in her upbringing. There was a lot in the things that she suffered with. But we also know that she carefully constructed Marilyn Monroe. She had complete control over that image. She's the one that leaked a lot of the pictures. She's the one that started a lot of the rumors and things like that. This was all done because she was an exceedingly intelligent person. And that's really honestly one of the reasons why I think this quote is important, is because if people think about Marilyn Monroe, you don't think of her as being this like accomplished actress that is exceedingly intelligent. Most people think of her as just the blonde bombshell type character that she played in the public eye. Most people think of her as this dumb blonde that just wore skimpy clothes and made their husbands slash boyfriends go woohoo, right? Like the cartoon Fox or Wolf or whatever it was, and that's what people think of, right? That was the image that she created and she cultivated, and I think that to a certain degree, the reason why this quote is important is she essentially created this image, and that image became her prison. It became the thing that held her back. It's well documented that she, had all sorts of contract disputes with Fox and MGM and such, where she wanted to do roles of substance. She didn't want to be this character anymore on film, and they said, no, 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 you're going to sit there and you're going to look pretty and you're going to say stupid shit because people don't want to see an intelligent woman. They want to see you, put your boobs up here and say, something in a childish voice. And that's really what it was, is, the breathy childish voice that she would put on. That's not really how she talked though. That was all part of this character. Now, the reason I say that this is important today is because we have social media and we have interpersonal, like at office friendships, and we have, all these different people that we come in contact with in our personal lives. And I want you to think about it for a minute. I want you to really, really, sit in it and recognize that many people cultivate these personas in the same way that Marilyn Monroe did. Obviously, they don't have paparazzi coming after them. They just do it for their own, personal well-being, or so they believe. But it's something that we all do in society to a limited degree. Now, I think that that's one of the things that a lot of times is lost when people talk about Marilyn Monroe, is that this is a blown up macro scale of what a lot of people do. Many people, I would say, again, a majority of people do this. They create a persona around themselves. And that persona becomes the thing that people engage with. That becomes the thing that people learn to love. That becomes the thing that people learn to take expectations from as far as what that person is willing to do. But it's all created, it's cultivated. It's something that we do ourselves, whether we do it intentionally or not. You know, like she says in the quote, I never wanted to be Marilyn. She didn't necessarily want this. She just saw this as an opportunity, as a way to create something that people wanted to look at. This is a woman that came from foster homes. She felt unwanted her entire life. And then she had the opportunity, because of the way she looked and because of the way that she could make herself appear, she had the opportunity to make people want her. And she wanted to be wanted. And can you blame her, right? Like, it all comes from that childhood pain. People will look at her life and the way she lived her life and judge her, but the reality is that all of us want that feeling. All of us want to be wanted. All of us want to belong. All of us want somebody to choose us. We all want that. And she took it to a level, because she was on the world stage, that, everybody got to watch it. But all of us do it in our personal lives. Most of us, you know, myself is the only person I can really speak for here. Most of us grow out of that and say, no, I don't want to do that anymore. But to a certain degree, all of us have built a persona, an outward facing version of ourselves that the world engages with and that we hide behind. A lot of people do this. And I know a lot of people will be like, well, I don't do that. I'm completely authentic. Are you? Are you? Are you sure about that? I mean, like, I sit here and I make these videos, and I try to tell people about, everything that I can. I talk just from the heart all the time. But the reality is that none of you will ever see all of this, all of me. None of you will ever see that. And so, to a certain degree, I have cultivated an outward facing persona on social media, just like people behind a keyboard do when they type in their comments, just like people do when they make their other videos, just like people do when they show up at work. You don't get to see what they are like when they go home, when they sit on their bed and they cry because they don't feel worthy, or they don't feel loved, or they don't feel like they belong. You don't get to see that part. You just get to see the bright, shiny person that shows up, and you say, you're so lovely. How could anybody ever not want you? How could anybody ever not love you? And then they go home and they feel sad and alone and scared and depressed. And we don't share that part, right? Like, that's the part we don't share. That's the part that she didn't share. She didn't share until later in her life that she felt trapped in this persona. She didn't share that she was, stuck, like pigeonholed into an existence that she never really intended. She just wanted to be wanted. She wanted to be loved. She wanted somebody to choose her. And, the postscript to all this is that she became an icon. She became absolutely one of the most recognizable people to have ever lived. Even people that are born like fucking 10 years ago, like there's 10-year-olds and 8-year-olds out there that'll see a picture of Marilyn Monroe and go, oh, that's Marilyn Monroe. No reason in the world they should know that, but they do, because that's how iconic she is. So this woman who died at the age of 36 of an overdose, whether it be intentional or not, and all she ever wanted was to be wanted and loved and to be chosen, right? That's what she wanted, because she wasn't chosen as a child. She wasn't wanted as a child, and that's what she wanted as an adult, and that's all she ever wanted, and she got it, right? Her movies grossed $200 million at that time. That's over $2 billion today. She got it. But was it ever enough? Was there ever going to be enough to fill that hole in her heart? And when you think about her, I want you to think about yourself, and I want you to think about your outward facing persona and what you bring to the world, and whether or not you're hiding behind it or you're stepping into it. I just wanted to say happy birthday to her and honor her and tell her that while she may not have felt it in her life, she is absolutely beloved now. Happy birthday, Marilyn Monroe. Norma Jeane. To the rest of you, take care of yourself. Take care of others. I'll talk to you soon.